So you guys, before I take a shower and get myself ready for bed or whatever the case may be, I do Bible reading, and that's very important to me. I do daily Bible reading. As you guys know, um, I'm like a spiritual person, and spirituality, I can say, definitely contributed to the improvement of my mental health, and I'm in a very good, happy space. Skin is glowing, happy. um I'm gonna do a night routine where I do my hair. It's gonna be like a specific, because my hair, it needs a whole routine by itself. So I got the skin out the way. Now with my hair, washing my hair, or products I use for my hair, how I take care of it, I'll definitely do something on that. But just to briefly talk about what I read, it's gonna be in this video. It's Hebrews chapter 8, and it talks about basically Jesus being high priest, like a high priest, and but not like human high priests back in the day. They had like priests back in the day that were responsible for like running the temple of God, but the Bible says that Jesus was higher than those human priests. He was like a heavenly high priest, which is God's son, and a priest that that basically died for us, and what made it possible for us to have a relationship with God through his blood, forgiveness of sins. And that chapter really talks about basically the Hebrews chapter talks about a lot about the Sabbath. The Sabbath basically comes from like Saturdays. Basically, a lot of people take it as the Sabbath in this modern day world. The Sabbath comes from the law of Moses. Basically, the Jehovah, he basically had Moses write on the tablets the 10 Commandments, which is something that everybody knows about. So it's basically the early law that God had used before Christ, and it wrote down basically what everything that the Israelites had to do. Today, forgiveness of sins comes from Jesus because he died for us. Back in the day, before Jesus had come, what the Israelites had to do per commandment was to offer up sacrifices, meaning they would have to go to the altar of God, and they would have to basically the priests, the priests that were in control of the temple, kind of like officers, you would say. The priests that were basically running the temple, they would basically offer up animals, burnt sacrifices, like sacrifice an animal, and through the animal's death, it would be basically for forgiveness of sins, because Christ had not come yet. So every day they would have to basically, because we sin every day they would have to offer up sacrifices, via an animal, and offer that up to God for forgiveness of sins. They had to do that before. That was before the Christ period. That was in the early days when Moses and the Israelites were basically, God, the Israelites were basically like, it was the early days, basically, so basically, but a lot of people still in this, but the law, that old law is old, because when Christ came, he basically presented a perfect sacrifice, meaning it wasn't an animal sacrifice. It was a perfect sacrifice to forgive our sins. So because of Christ, we no longer need the old law. The old law was just there to carry the Israelites through, in time for Christ, until Christ came. So they used the law because they had no type of anything like a perfect sacrifice, like Jesus's blood, a perfect son of God, to make up for Adam's sin, because Adam was perfect. So basically an animal sacrifice wasn't enough to forgive sins, but Jehovah accepted it because that's what they had at the time. Christ had not come yet. When Christ finally came and gave his perfect life, it's kind of like we're even. Like, okay, Adam had a perfect life. He lost it through sin and died. Now Jesus is perfect. His perfect life makes up for Adam's sin. That's why we no longer need the Mosaic law. That's why we no longer need the old law, where basically people basically were like strict about the Sabbath. People were basically offering up animals for forgiveness of sins. Those things are no longer needed anymore because Christ came. We're under a new law, which is the law of Christ. And so Hebrews chapter 8 basically talks all about how the old law, where we had to offer up sacrifices, by giving animals. And, observing the priests were very adamant about the Sabbath, how people today are adamant about the Sabbath. But the thing that some people don't know today, is that the Sabbath is no longer necessary because Christ came. He came and got rid of the old law that said the Sabbath was necessary, keep the Sabbath. Through his death, we're under a new law now. And so that's the law of Christ. And, that's basically really great, because a lot of people really feel like they have to really not work on Saturdays. They feel like they have to keep up the old stuff. But really, after Christ came, we got under a new law. We no longer needed those commandments that came via tablet, because he wrote them on stone, Moses. So we're not under that anymore. And the scriptures talk about that. The scriptures give a lot of evidence of how the old laws abolished, and we no longer are under that law, the Mosaic law. So yeah, that was my Bible reading for today, and it was very inspirational for me, and helped me to see that these are things that a lot of people don't know. But I'm very thankful that I have a relationship with God, and I've learned these things because he's allowed me to learn them. And I share it, with you guys, and whoever wants to investigate more about it can investigate more about it. But for me, that's just part of my night routine. Bible reading is part of my night routine. I usually study at night because it's kind of like quiet. It's not really like it's not really like, the noise of the day is very like distracting. So at night is when I focus, and so yeah, that's what I do. And then after that, I go and do what you're gonna see next. All right, guys, so one pimple, but that's okay, it's gonna go away. Irritated, like how this is a catastrophic pimple. But the thing about a pimple, even if you have nice skin, you get a pimple, don't burst it, just let it go away by itself. That's what I would say. So step 1 of my night routine is I use the Lighten and Brighten eye cream. That's the first thing to prevent dark circles from under your eyes. So it goes under your eyes. You just use a little bit, and you just kind of dab. You go above the brow, you go like at your brow bone and underneath your eye, and then you do that with the next eye, right? Okay, so that's done. Second step. Now, this is to keep your skin glowing, or whatever the case may be. And I have y'all all in my face so you can see these products work. So this is the Specific Beauty Advanced Dark Spot Corrector. So if you have any dark spots on your face, this will correct them. So it's just like a little pad, a little wet pad. And you kind of like just smooth it gently over your skin. But do not put it in the section where your where you put your eye cream. You just put it everywhere else but there. So, and then you kind of like let it dry. So you throw that in the trash. It fell on the floor. Okay. You just let it dry. My AC is on, so like I'm like looking upward to let it, kind of like dry, whatever the case may be. Dry. All right, so after it's dried, it only takes like about a minute or so. You put on the Intensive Skin Brightening Serum, Specific Beauty, right? Same thing, you just dab on a little bit on like each side of your face. And if you need a little bit more, probably like a dime-sized amount. See how I put it like up to my forehead, my cheeks, and then you just rub it in. Rub it in. Avoid the eye area because you already put cream there. Put it on your nose, put it on your forehead, drop it down to the sides of your face. Avoid your eye area. You already have your eye cream there. Okay. 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 So after that, Radiance Night Repair. Radiance Night Repair is basically a moisturizer that basically treats your skin while you sleep. So my skin looks really good, with the exception of this pimple, because of these steps that I've taken, right? So it's the same thing. You just put like a little amount on your forehead, your cheeks, just enough. You rub it in, rub it in, rub it in, avoid your eye area. This pimple has to go. So there you have it, guys. That's my night treatment. So that is my night treatment for my face. So yeah, Black girls rock. So I do the same thing for my neck. Basically, I'm gonna use the same thing for my neck. I'm gonna just, the only thing I don't use is the eye stuff on my neck, obviously. So I'm gonna put this on my neck, and then after that, I'm going to put the replenishing moisture complex. Basically, it's like moisture from, you know, more after you put the serum, you put your moisturizer on, which is for the neck moisture. And then I'm going to use the same cream at the end, Radiance Night Repair, for my neck. What I lotion my body with, what makes my skin like really radiant, I use the Body Shop coconut milk. So it's really milky. So I'm going to lotion this all over my body, and then after that I'm going to let you see what I look like finally going to bed. But so far I'm looking cute, huh? Yeah, with the exception of this pimple. Oh, and I got a phone call from my sister. I got to talk to my sister, one of my sisters, and she might be coming to my house tomorrow, but she's really beautiful. Like, all my siblings, we like low-key look alike. Like, all of us, low-key. We all low-key look alike. But yeah, I'm excited, you know, because it's like I'm getting in contact with all my siblings, and she was one of them that I had not talked to yet. And she's really cool. Like, she do hair, and she basically does makeup as well. So she's like a little beauty guru. And I was just today thinking about how I need a 360 lace front, and she actually installs them, and she makes wigs. So I'm very excited to meet my sister face to face, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, that's why I hate the fact that we might have a hurricane. I keep saying might because you never know. You know, Jehovah definitely can prevent natural disasters if he chooses to. So if he chooses to, it'll swerve and go elsewhere. But I mean, it's like this would be the perfect opportunity for me to like hang out with my sister and all that type of stuff. And it's like, no, I have to wait like until maybe next week, because, you know, like a full day hanging out, I have to wait maybe next week because this hurricane wants to come and play around with the city. Whatever though. But I'm really excited and happy that you know, and she's 26 years old, so I'm a year older than her. My dad was having kids, honey. My dad basically was out here, but I'm thankful that he had all of us because we're all siblings and I get to meet. And I have them. I have actually 7 siblings. I thought it was 6, but I have 7. So, yeah. That was really dope. So I got to talk to my sister today. I was dead sleep. I was in a deep sleep, and I got a phone call. Usually I don't answer numbers that I don't know. Might be a collection agency that I don't have money for. Don't know. Don't care. So I be forwarding people, but I just answered because it wasn't like a weird number. It was like a 954 number. So that's like Fort Lauderdale. That's Lauderdale. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know, maybe this is somebody that know that changed their number. I don't know, but it was her. She was like, hello. And I was like, hello. So yeah, life is pretty good. Just living it with God, learning my siblings. My relationship with my dad is doing good. And, life couldn't be better.